Part 6 was very exciting to read the first time. If you were not playing the Titanic soundtrack during this part, then you're missing out. It fits absolutely perfectly. So we get Scythe, Anastasia, and Curry. They go to Endura. Endura is made by the Scythum, fully by the Scythum, owned by the Scythum, created for the Scythum, by the founding fathers, or by Prometheus, the first Scythe, considered to be the first Scythe, or the leader of the first Scythes. It's a very beautiful, beautiful location. It's in the middle of the ocean. It's these beautiful, shiny buildings, and this is where the Grandslayers live. The Grandslayers are chosen from all over the continent. The Grandslayers are the ultimate sites. They make the decisions and they make the final call. They're there to conclude this whole voting system with Scythe Goddard. The beginning of this part is just them explaining how it looks, how beautiful it is, and how important this whole place is. It's also known as there's no gleaning on this island. She could take her whole family here. Her family will be safe here. Quotation marks. Exocrates is also here. This is going to be his new home. And he's very ambitious. He wants to be the Grandslayer, the number one. It's kind of like extreme ambitious. Like, oh, this was his final end goal. Goddard is able to meet him and talk to him and say, like, I have Rowan with me. If influence it in my favor, or I use it against you. So Anastasia and Curry go see the Vault of Relics and Future. Very, very beautiful. And it shows the beginnings of the Scythe. And they get special permission to go even further into the relics. They get to see all the founding fathers' cloaks. It's very beautiful. And they also get to see the diamonds that are used for the rings. In book 1, the Thunderhead worries that within a few years, there won't be enough Scythes to go around to help control the population. That's also like another hint of there is a lot, but there's not enough. In this ending part, we also have Ran, who kind of makes her move on Goddard. In book 1, she's in love with him. In book 2, she tries to convince herself that she's still in love with him. Goddard brushes her off. And this is where Goddard is a little more complex. He follows the rules of the Scythum. He's very honorable that way. He wants to be this honorable, wonderful Scythe, but he wants it his way. And he brushes off Ram because Scythes are not supposed to be together. And it's kind of like, interesting. Don't you want to change that? I thought you were trying to change the Scythum. But he's very true to his decision with Ran. And he just doesn't see her that way. When we finally get to the group meeting the Grandslayers, it's it's like they're very much bullies to Exocrates. They don't think, since he's a newbie, he doesn't have street cred, and they bully him and make remarks about him. I like how Exocrates just takes it. He's like, whatever. He understands his position and that he needs to grow from it. So the way he takes it, it's pretty cool, in my opinion. When we get to the part where Anastasia is talking about her case, it's all about how much of Goddard is Goddard in this new body. And she makes a very good case about it. A little weak, but it's still a good question. We have rules to become Scythes, and he has broken those rules. Like, there are rules to be a Scythe, and his body is not qualified to be a Scythe. And I like how the Grandslayers agree with this. Goddard has a really weak point in his defense. So, like, Anastasia would win this case, but having the Grandslayer say, we would have helped with this cause because if you just came to us, Scythe Ran. And that just tells me all I need to know about the Grandslayers and the Scythum. The Scythum really value themselves high and mighty and superior to all humankind, to the point of even experimenting. Even though they would have found a willing opponent, I think it's still very disgusting the way that they will say, we would have helped you if you came to us. We agree with what you did. We just don't agree that you didn't include us. I didn't like that at all. But in this case, Anastasia and Curry win their case, and Curry is now going to become the High Blade of America. And this is when we hit the fan, because Goddard will not take it lying down. Once Goddard loses the voting of his High Blade position, he takes revenge. And this revenge, it includes the whole place of Endura drowning. There's a little moment where he doesn't think that this was going to be this bad. Rand knew completely that this was going to be really bad. And the Grandslayers are freaking out. They're going to be drowned. They are stuck in their council chambers, and it's very quickly filling up with water, and they try to come up with different ways to get over the wall, but it's unsuccessful, so they all retreat to their chairs. And this helicopter comes and starts to lower itself, and they think this is the help that they need, but it's actually Goddard, who just wants them to see his face, saying, I am the one who planned all of this, and you are the ones that are going to be ended, not me. And the Grandslayers all end up being eaten by sharks. This whole moment, and Execrates knew that this was going to happen. He had an inkling that it was going to be Goddard, and he decides to take his own life and drown instead of give the satisfaction that Goddard got him. It goes during this whole part, it really puts in perspective that these Grandslayers they're not gods. They are still human, and they left this world because they were human. There's moments in this part where they're starting to freak out and understanding what is happening, that they all kind of lean on each other. Some of them start calling each other by their name. They are no longer Scythes. They're just the names that they were born with. It's very nice, and it's kind of like, it sucks, because the moment where they do become human, and we also realize that they're also just human, is a moment where they are gone. Because Rand got rejected, Rowan was let go, and he finds Citra here. Citra is the one who continues to hide him and continue to make sure that he gets off, and is already starting to make a plan on getting him off this island safely. But they soon come to realize that this island is sinking. No one is getting out alive, unfortunately. We also get to see the chaos that happens all over the place. Scythes, these honorable Scythes, are gleaning people to get them out of the way, and only getting themselves out and the crew out. Some Scythes actually try to get as many people as they can into their plane so they can save as many people. It shows you at the end of the day who is a hero and who's not. And it reminds me of My Hero Academia, where when push comes to shove, who are the heroes that are remaining to fight, even if they don't get the praise? Who are the honorable Scythes that promise to serve humanity and not themselves? So we get a whole section, and I'm glad that was put into this part, in this section here, because the Scythedom is completely lost. If they're losing it, the Scythes are no longer honorable. So we get to the ending where Scythe Curry understands that they're not coming out of this alive. And one thing I can say about Scythe Curry is that she really loves Anastasia. She loves Citra. She has formed a true bond with her, and one of the things she does is she takes Rowan and Citra to the Relics and Future cube, where she locks him in. This was very honorable of her to do, but it doesn't come from honor, it comes from love. She also kind of comes to the conclusion, in my opinion, that Citra and Rowan are two peas in the pods. You cannot save Citra without saving Rowan. Citra would not allow it, and Citra would rather go down with Rowan, then be saved in the cube. And so she saves both of them. And it's out of love for Citra that she does save them both. Citra is distraught. Citra comes to understand that she did it to save them. Everything is starting to flood, and Scythe Curry, she stumbles upon other people on the rooftops, lost, and they know what's coming. This is the time where the Grand Dame of Death really comes into full circle. This is the moment where Scythe Curry is finally able to proudly be the Grand Dame of Death, and she gleans the people so they don't have to drown. They are now having a honorable death, and instead of being a death of fear or of something cruel, now it's an honorable death. And she gives the other sides, and the other sides are do their self-gleaning. In the end, they all went out following the duties of a scythe, and she self-gleans herself, and her final moments are pretty cocky, where she knows that there was very little pain to her self-gleaning, and that she was very, very good at her job.